In my previous module, I covered why I thought this video series is something that I hope is helpful during this particular time of year. But also I touched on the underlying and deep-rooted connection our society, and perhaps many of the people you also know, have to diet culture and the normalisation of wanting to change our bodies by changing our eating, and this idea that there is a right or wrong way to eat and a right or wrong way to look and exist in our bodies. In this module, I'll cover the first step to getting through this holiday season and hopefully enjoying yourself and continuing your hard work in your eating disorder recovery. I've prepared some handouts and worksheets for you to get the most out of the points that I'll be covering and to make it personal to you, so be sure to download and or print those out. Okay, so the first step that will be your friend to get through this time is preparation. And so with this, I would like you to consider, what do you identify or anticipate will be difficult for you? So for example, 1, is it the foods that will be specifically there given it may be a party or a Christmas lunch? 2, is it the amount of food that will be there, as Christmas and holiday get-togethers are often known for an abundance of food? 3, is it where you will be eating and the environment you'll be in? 4, is it the people who will be there, the conversations you anticipate or know from experience they will instigate? With each of these, or perhaps you may even have some others, I want you to start to consider, how would you prepare for this situation ahead of time that could help you to build up your confidence beforehand? So for example, if it's the specific food that is often served at your family Christmas lunch or dinner, such as a big ham or turkey, lots of creamy salads and potato bake and roasted veggies or cheesy cauliflower, then one helpful idea that sometimes people find beneficial is to construct for yourself what we call a graded hierarchy of your anxiety-provoking foods and gradually leading up to the event, work out the hierarchy. So I've included a worksheet related to constructing a hierarchy if this is something that you think could be relevant and helpful to you. Or depending on where you're at in your recovery, it could be that once a week leading up to that event, you eat the foods that you know will be there and that make you feel anxious, and see whether in your own environment, without or your family present and with your support people there, the initial introductions to those foods could help you build up your confidence over each week and mean that by the time you come to the holiday event, you're feeling less anxious. You've already eaten this food many times and you're able to feel so much more confident with it. So similarly, if it's the amount of food or the environment you'll be in, especially if it's somewhere like a restaurant or a buffet type setting, then again, a graded exposure hierarchy where you have a plan to regularly practice an aspect of what you anticipate will be hard and anxiety provoking, and in your own time, and with people around you to support you through it, will be one of the most helpful occasions to better introduce you to that fearful situation. So specifically, this would also mean going to the buffet style restaurants ahead of time, taking your time to walk around the buffet, having a plan how to approach the foods, how you'll approach putting everything on your plate. For example, would it feel easier to pick one thing, or are you up for experimenting with picking a few things? You may also then want to observe, how do other people fill their plates? And notice whether people are going back for seconds or thirds, and whether they go back for dessert or fruit plates. And then depending on what it is like for you with that anxiety-provoking situation, you can do it then in your own time with your own support people around you, practice making it through the situation, and ideally feel positive about it before you then head out to your holiday event. If, for example, the situation is a Christmas work party where there is lots of finger foods being carried around throughout the whole time of the event, and you're anxious regarding how much food to take and eat, and not sure how to get your bearings with this, you could set up a mock situation at home, or with your dietitian, if you have one you work with, where you practice taking finger foods and determining how to gauge what is an adequate amount of food to have as a meal while you're there. And again, the hope is that by the time your holiday event comes around, you will then have a few occasions, or at least one time, where you have successfully survived this event or a similar situation in the past, and it should therefore help with feeling more confident on the day, which is of course the name of the game. The last example I gave was related to difficult conversations that we may have with people. So comments they might make about your body, or questions they may ask about your health, or comments they may have when we're eating, about what we're eating. This one in particular could be things such as, are you going to be able to eat all of that? Do you really think you should be having that? You're not still hungry, are you? Or they could just even be saying those things about themselves and their own plates of food. But then that too can just be as bad as it may mean you'll find yourself doing comparison of your own plate of food, etc. So this example can also be one of the hardest, as not only may you be experiencing anxiety related to the environment you're in, the food and the fears, rejudgments about how you're doing, etc. But when people actually make comments related to these things, it can make the anxiety even more unbearable, or the guilt and shame go through the roof. So for example, you may know that your grandma Crystal always likes to comment on people's bodies as the first thing she does when she comes in. And then after she tells everyone whether she thinks they've gained, lost, or remained unchanged in their weight, she then proceeds to try and give everyone seconds and thirds during lunch. So with this one, I would suggest writing things down in anticipation and preparation. I've included a worksheet with the following prompts actually, and reflections, which could be helpful for you. So, what comments have been made before? Who said them? Who are they directed at? And make a note also of how you felt, or how you feel just thinking about it all now. It may also be helpful to write down what you wish you would have said or done if a comment has been said in the past. Once you have done that, I encourage you to talk these through with someone you trust and feel supported by, or otherwise you can also do this on your own as an exercise, with the aim of brainstorming a list of all the skills and strategies that may help you if those comments were to come your way again. So for example, you may take some deep breaths and try and calm your emotional response inside. And then if you're up for being assertive, and this is something that maybe you've been gradually working towards doing more of, you may say to Grandma Crystal, "Thanks, I'm trying to not judge my body according to my weight anymore, so let's not chat about weight anymore." Or you may say something along the lines of, "These days talking about weight is not done anymore, Grandma. It doesn't matter what weight we all are, so long as we're happy. How are you feeling, Grandma?" If you decide that Grandma Crystal will be offended if you say anything related to that, you may instead find it in you to laugh it off and just walk away from that discussion. So if you're working with a mental health practitioner to support your eating disorder recovery, you may also role play with them and come up with ideas for scripts for what to say and reply with. You may also then discuss which strategies you've already learned and have been practicing with them that might be useful in those moments. Similarly, if you're supporting a loved one with an eating disorder, you may also want to chat with them about how you might be able to help them prepare, or what things you could prompt them to do that would be helpful for them in these situations, especially if this is your family member that you know very well that would be making the comments. So, if all of the above you have mainly been doing on your own, I would invite you to consider whether there was anyone close to you that you could talk to regarding everything you've been doing, as well as the anxiety and stress that you are anticipating may occur, and see whether they can be your support person in this situation. If it's possible for you to have a support person, such as your partner, your mum, or your dad, or a sibling, or a cousin, or an auntie, then I would recommend they sit next to you at the table and check in with you regularly during the event to ensure that you're travelling along okay, and see whether they can support you with anything. This part of the process can be particularly important if we can coordinate it, as it ensures that you won't be feeling alone with everything you're having to manage and navigate that day. And I would hope it would help to lessen any feelings of your overwhelm. So this part of preparation may also be very easy for some. If your family or loved ones have already been involved in any way with your eating disorder recovery. If it is a little harder though, due to perhaps family not being as involved, then I would suggest considering whether you're open to including them or someone else, because ideally for your benefit, it's to get help through this and get through this event hopefully so much better. If you're open to this idea, then the earlier that you can start to have conversations with someone and build up to letting them know what support could be helpful, the better I would hope it means your support person will be able to support you when it matters. It will ideally give them lots of time to consider their role, ask any questions, ensure that you also feel confident and they feel confident in how they can support you. So for example, you may have a family picnic coming up and you hear that your grandma Crystal is bringing KFC for everyone. You may wish to chat to both your parents or one of them regarding the possibility of them asking grandma to also bring some salads, or have them let grandma know that you guys will be bringing those, as this may also then help you manage to have the KFC together with the salad and the bread rolls that are on offer, and then potentially your parents can also help you with this meal while it's happening as well. My last point related to preparation is also to affirm that you're allowed to have exit strategies. So after workshopping all of the above, you may also give yourself permission to leave early if it becomes completely overwhelming to you, and you might leave the table or go for a short walk outside or somewhere else in the location you're in to help soothe and calm your anxiety. And then come back to the table and the event and the people you're with afterwards. You may also wish to discuss what some of your exit strategies are with your support people, so they also can navigate these if needed, or may be able to help you see any signs where you're becoming overwhelmed or too distressed in these moments. There is absolutely no failure in needing to take a moment away or deciding that an event isn't being very positive for your overall well-being and recovery goals. Sometimes, in fact, knowing that we have given ourselves permission to leave may also help us to actually stay. So overall, this module related to preparation is quite a big one, but as you can see, there are so many different ways in which we can prepare and help give ourselves the best chance of getting through potentially stressful situations. There are, of course, no doubt, aspects of preparation that I haven't covered. However, in general, the principles and the ways to approach what you're anticipating will be stressful will be somewhat the same. So, I hope that you're able to take some time to work through writing things down, grading the difficulty of the things that will be anxiety provoking, and then finding ahead of time ways to practice and navigate similar situations so as to then hopefully feel so much more confident on the day. Check out the worksheets I've included for the prompts and exercises related to this, or feel free to just journal and explore what feels most relevant to you. In the next module, we'll be covering ways to shift our mindset and work with some cognitive strategies to help support you through this time.